level of music.
That landline. But we weren't sure that it was actually happening. We couldn't tell. We couldn't see anything that told us that was happening. So I dropped into the Echo show or Echo View that's set up in my living room. And I then told the system to send a message to the landline, and I could hear the phone ring. So I knew that part was working. And then once we confirmed that, then we went on.
See, the phone at home was set up so that voicemail messages would be recorded, and then they would send me an email of the audio recording. But the Apple system would not leave it as a voicemail. So once we forwarded the call, it was fine. But before I could do that, my cable company at home wanted to send me a verification code. So they wanted to send it to the cell phone number that I had that I'm trying to restore. So what we did was we went to my old Apple ID that I had on my iPad, and we signed in on Bill's messed up one with the screen all screwed up. So we had an iPhone. We signed in on my old Icloud ID that was used for a non-phone, and it activated the phone number, so we were able to use that phone number with a different ID.
Don't worry, you won't understand it, neither do we.
We're not sure exactly what we did, but we know we did something. So.
And do not ask us to replicate that system.
Yes, you had quite a comedy of errors throughout the whole process of just updating your operating system. Hey, I've hit the streaming button, and I want to
update.
I want to talk about that some more, but I just want to say this is the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson, your interminable host, streaming online and sharing stories of people's frustrations upgrading iOS phones from 14.8 to 15.2. Cheryl has been at it for almost a week and has finally come out the other end of the tunnel with everything intact except her sanity.
Well, it was a long, dark tunnel, and for a long time we could not see a light at the other end.
Right.
So we couldn't turn around.
You know, what it got me thinking about is how we spent last meeting talking about all the things that we're working on 15.2, but we didn't spend any real time talking about making sure you're ready to do an update like that and whether you should do an update like that or not. Your update was a complete OS version update from 14 to 15, and we all should have just taken that a little bit more seriously, because that is, you are trading out an entire version of the operating system, and something can go wrong when that's happening. The other phones that we had been talking about, both Fred's and Judy's, are examples of fairly state-of-the-art equipment. Cheryl, I think your phone is an iPhone 6S, is that right? Am I remembering that?
Correct.
Yeah. And so there's even this question of whether you want to upgrade to 15.2. And I think we've asked ourselves those questions in the past. I think maybe with an older piece of equipment, you have to ask yourself the question, is there something that I need to fix? Is there something that's not working? And maybe that should be driving your upgrade more than, do I want the latest features? When you've got an equipment that's not quite on the cutting edge, maybe what you're really happy about is that it's working.
The old term for that is the bleeding edge, not the cutting edge.
Okay. The bleeding edge.
That's very, very true.
Well, given
we should all comment on Fred's background. He's got a classroom in there, I believe. It looks awesome.
Fred, where's your picture from? Is Fred still with us? I think he froze. Oh, there he is.
He's there. He moves occasionally.
Well, guys, it's nice to see you this Tuesday morning. If you haven't already picked it up, I do have the document of possible topics.
Google.
Oh, it's Google. Well, I've got a terrible delay. I've got...
As a comment, everybody on the screen.
Go ahead, Fred.
Possible topics. Well, as a comment, all I'm getting from everybody else on the screen, with the exception of me and you, is the screen holder, you know, a picture or a letter or something. I'm not getting live.
Fred, I wonder if you're having bandwidth issues at the moment. You're staggered and stuttering on my connection. You've just started coming back clear now.
Chester. I see Bill. But everybody else, well, there goes Bill.
Well, I don't think that was your connection, Fred.
Okay.
Bill just excluded himself from the meeting. He walked away, and now he's back.
He just walked off.
He just walked off.
No.
So,
I got coffee.
I don't know if any of you have had a chance to look at this document that I prepared, but I've brought a couple of different news stories, and we've kind of started out with Cheryl's iPhone upgrade. And as part of that, down here in this list, I've got this one, how to set iCloud account recovery contacts. And I thought this was a very appropriate, I actually found this as I was helping research for Cheryl's phone upgrade. This is an article that talks about how to set your trusted phone numbers. So if you have an Apple ID and you might lose access to it, this article will go into how to set your account recovery contacts and your trusted phone numbers. It also goes into legacy contacts. And these three things are pretty cool when you're thinking about your iCloud, your Apple account, how to get access to it again. The account recovery contacts are really where you're going to get the codes. You can actually set up a friend to get a code if that's the way you want to do it. If you've had trouble getting to your iCloud, I think Bill and Cheryl mentioned they were in this holding pattern for a moment where they were dealing with real people and a 12-day wait to get verified that they're actually the holders of that account. Had previously you had done this, you could have assigned somebody like a son or a daughter to be an account, a trusted account, so that when you needed a code to get sent to you, it could be sent to your daughter, and when you're in conversations with them, they can give you the code to finish the security activity. So this article goes into that kind of stuff and shows you where in your device that you can set these things up. The account recovery contacts is what I was just describing. There's also the trusted phone numbers where you can list the phone numbers that can be used to receive a code. And then there's also legacy contacts, and this could be really important to a lot of people. This is when you assign a next of kin, so that daughter email or a lawyer's email or some power of attorney email could be assigned to your iCloud account, so that if in the case that you have passed away, they would be able to get access to this iCloud's account. This is an article called How to Set iCloud Account Recovery Contacts, Legacy Contacts, and Trusted Phone Numbers. And I know that Bill and Cheryl already know how to do some of this because they've already put it in place since this week's experience. It's in the document that I have linked in the chat, and I'll also put a link directly to it right here in case this is something you're interested in. I always put these on the website as well. Pardon me. And I'll ask again, did anybody bring any of their own topics? Because I will go through my list of stuff here. If, Mom, you have something, please bring it forward.
Well, I'm sure some of you are going to think this is really dumb, but I was looking at recipes on my phone, and I found 3 I wanted to try. And so my phone asked me if I wanted to make a folder, and I did. I don't know where I don't know how to find that folder on my phone. Anybody have that problem and know how to solve it?
I think it's on my phone.
Is it?
I don't know how to forward it back to you, sorry.
Oh, man.
But I love the recipes.
Oh, will you send a taste for me?
Well, you know what? I don't think it's strange that you wouldn't know where to find that or make a folder. Folders and file organization on iDevices is a relatively new subject. For the longest time, Steve Jobs and Apple had pushed the idea that you shouldn't have to worry about where your data is stored. You should just be able to find it. When you open your app, it should be right there in front of you. And so there was no emphasis on the file structure system. Pardon me. I think I have a COVID cough lingering.
Oh,
I hope it doesn't.
Gone, pretty much?
Everybody's healthy. Yuya's suffering sinus infections, and we're all waiting the 10-day time period before we leave the house. So, but everybody's good. Nobody's having any. But we all seem to get a little winded earlier than we expect. That's odd.
Could that be because you've been shut up in the house for so long, or?
Yeah, maybe.
Because you never shut up.
Yeah.
That's why I get winded.
But yeah, so in the iOS operating system, there is, at least with the latest operating system, there is a thing called Files. I think it's called Files. And if you open that up, it is... I'm sorry?
That's in the screen called Settings?
Well, no, actually, it would be on your home screen, if I remember right. iOS File. Is it called Files? I wonder if you have to download it separately.
I don't know. I've got it sitting on mine, Scott. It's sitting on the home screen.
What's it called?
Files. It's just a blue folder.
I got folder, but I don't have files.
Folder. That's interesting.
Folder, and I have shortcuts and tips in that.
No, I've got, it's looking at my iCloud at the moment.
Oh.
Whatever. I don't know. I've never really played in this thing.
Yeah. Mom, why don't you know how to search for apps on your phone? If you,
I probably did it one time.
if you swipe down, I think you'll get a search bar at the top, and you can type in Files. And then that should...
App library.
Is there a search bar at the top?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so you type in that search bar the word Files. And then it should appear below the search bar. And actually there's a drop pin that comes to the right of the search results, and that'll actually show you where it's located in your phone. Is that making sense?
It does. It's just that when I do search, I do get a file. It's called login registry checkout.
No, it should be
as a
called
guest.
files.
It has nothing to do with, yeah.
Yeah, it should be an app called Files. It should look like a folder.
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay,
but
so
when I open it up, nothing's in it but that's something that isn't important.
The recipe?
If I may, down the bottom, isn't there a recent?
There's a browse.
Somebody help, I don't have an iDevice in front of me.
Okay, so I pushed browse the folders. I have a download, a shortcut, untitled folder, but nothing's in it. Maybe I didn't get those three stored.
Yeah, maybe that untitled folder is the folder that you created, and then nothing got stored in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm suspecting too. And there's nothing in download but that crazy piece I told you that has no meaning now. Okay, I just thought maybe it would be easy.
Well, maybe just try it again now that you've got a feel for what you're doing. Maybe
right.
Yeah, maybe it was the difference between a cancel and a save button.
Okay. Well, that's helped just to kind of know that there is a place I can go to.
That's right. Whereas there wasn't for the longest time. It was just in the ether.
No, I sat in complete dumbness trying to figure out, wait, I stored those, where did they go? And I can't find them, even with your help, but at least now I know where to maybe put them next time.
Sandy, how did you download them?
No, I looked them up. I can't even remember I know. I have all these oranges. My orange tree, I'm harvesting the first time ever. My orange trees are letting me harvest. Of course, last year we weren't here. So I was going to make marmalade, which happens to be one of Scott's favorites. So I thought, I'll make up marmalade and have it ready for him next Christmas. Well, I found 3 recipes I wanted to try. So I marked them to save, and then it asked me if I wanted to make a file out of them, and I filed them as, I think, recipes, but now they're gone.
Okay, but what program were you in when you were looking for them, when you searched for them?
I just went to Google.
Google. Well, you can perhaps look at your download history on Google, and it'll show you them, and then you can go to file, open that file or open that folder. Like I've done that where I've lost something that I downloaded, and it's over there in the download history.
Okay. Well, you guys talk like I know what I'm doing. I don't.
Well, the download history on the iOS device.
Reload new tab, new incognito tab, bookmark reading recent tab, history. Oh, there's the downloads. Empty.
Well,
it's sounding more and more like
my computer I've never been into.
It's looking more and more like maybe you didn't download anything.
Okay, I'll try again.
Just search for again and go find the recipe.
It's just annoying.
Almost always.
Okay, that's all I got, guys. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I also included the article about Netflix raising the prices. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I've put those links in our chat, but Netflix is raising its prices $1 to $2 a month. It prompted me to go out and look at the website for Netflix and compare pricing. And yeah, you can get the $30 plan from Mexico for $15 if you guys decide that you want to get out of your, want to get out of your US or Canadian plan. There is a Mexican plan available to you. And the links that I've stuck with it and that are also in this document will take you directly to the prices so you can compare prices, compare and shop between the two countries. We have not found any reason that you can't use a Mexican Netflix account anywhere there is Netflix, just like we've been able to use a US or a Canadian Netflix account anywhere that there's Netflix. So it's not unreasonable to think of using a Mexican Netflix account anywhere you want. And if you are here in San Carlos with a Telmex subscription, you might even find it further cheaper to buy that as part of your Telmex package. Get your high-speed internet plus Netflix access for something like $5.99, those are pesos, like $30 a month. And you can go ahead and use that account anywhere that they have Netflix. Dave, did you have something to add?
Well, basically, Netflix, where you sign up for it, or which country's facility you sign up for, determines the price. Where your internet is connected determines what you want. So you can sign up for Netflix in Mexico, which is half the price, and watch it anywhere in the world if you were using a VPN that could go to anywhere in the world.
Yep, that's a concise conclusion in all this information.
Yeah.
So
I know of no reason not to use Mexico's lower price versus the U.S.'s higher price.
Well,
So
and if you
we
were
have
curious if
Canadian
they're
Netflix.
nickel and diming Netflix customers all across the world, they are not. They're just doing it in the U.S.
Canada too. It just jumped to $2 here.
$2 more.
$2 more. 2 Canadian dollars more.
So,
Yeah.
Scott,
Yes.
we have a Canadian Netflix account, but using like when we come down here, it comes up Mexican VPN or Mexican Netflix until I turn the VPN on, and I can look at either the Canadian list or the American list anytime I want. Does that work the same if I have a Mexican Netflix account?
That's right. When you sign in to Mexico with your Canadian account, it is like you're a Mexican customer in all aspects except for the price. You're paying more money because you have a Canadian account. Whereas if you had a Mexican account, you'd be paying cheaper amounts and you'd be getting the same access in Canada or in the United States.
Yeah, okay. I think I understand.
Yeah.
I basically am constantly switching between whether the computer thinks I'm in the U.S. or in Mexico, because I have it running on a router. The VPN runs on a router attached to the Telmex router. So therefore, I use wireless and choose which wireless, and that determines whether you're in the U.S. or Mexico for everything. Works great, except Telmex has been failing me for about 8 weeks solidly now. And I should mention, I'm pretty sure that the modem is the cause. And frequently, as you know, powering things off tends to fix things. Well, it fixes software, definitely. Some hardware problems get fixed from when you power off by the capacitors, which basically store power, and it takes them a while to power off, and that's why they frequently will tell you to do it for only a minute or so rather than just turn it right back on. But in my case, I discovered that if I power off the Telmex modem for like a half hour to an hour, then things get restored, which is a sign that the modem itself is running too hot because they're using cheap components rather than expensive components in it, which is my electrical engineering background.
Yes, the modems that we use are like the lowest bidder modems. So it's not
Yeah, can we
inconceivable to fix problems
can we
simply
find a
by.
commercial modem that's much better when use it with Telmex?
I believe you can. I've never done it myself, but I've heard stories of people getting a hold of their own DSL modems and programming up so that they will work on Telmex's system. I've just never done it myself. You know who
Yeah,
I
know in the
think's
US,
done it
I used
before?
to
I
have
think.
a cable modem that worked fine with everything. They were sold that way.
Right. Right. I tend to just feel like if you're looking for more stability, instead of doing that, just buy your own routers. I mean, you know this, Dave, because we talk. Buy your own routers and use the Telmex modems purely for your internet connection. Maybe even to the point where it's a bridge.
But it's the Telmex modem that fails, and to the point where I've been running basically a program in the background that does a ping every 30 seconds and logs the failures.
Yeah, you might. I mean, if it's that consistent, you might try and get it replaced because it shouldn't be consistent.
Well, we had a call now in for that for quite a while, but this has been going on for 6 weeks, and sometimes we've had one failure lasted a couple days, and then I finally just did power it off for more than. Then I started realizing a long power off lets everything cool down, and I think that's the sometimes fix and what's really happening. I also did get confirmation from Telmex that yes, somebody did steal about 400 feet of the fiber optic cable in the Ranchitos about 6 weeks to 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, wow. They stole it. I'm assuming that they thought it was copper.
That's my guess too.
Yeah. Yeah, because there isn't
there isn't anything else to know of, huh?
Say that again.
Any other reason to steal it?
Right. Raw fiber optic cable has no real value, but raw copper cable has value. Fiber optic cable, they can just break it.
Could you tie up a boat with a fiber optic cable?
No. No, not at all. You know, this is just off the fly, but you saw the volcanic eruption in Tonga. They lost their fiber optic link. And so that's where all these speculative news stories are coming from, is they have no communications with them, or the most limited communications with them right now. I was just speculating in my mind. I'm imagining that the cable is still there, but what's happened is the communications center was flooded. And that would bring down all their communications. Dave?
What I read, it was the underwater cable, and they're not going to start working on it until February 1st, approximately.
Oh, so it was the cable that was damaged. Wow.
Sounds like it.
Well, that's a pain. If you're making a comment, you're muted there, Mom.
I was making the comment to your dad.
Oh, okay. That's what happens when you're on camera, is everybody sees you talking to Dad.
But most of us can't lip read.
Sorry.
Well, have we got any other topics that people want to bring up in this computer club meeting? I've got a couple of more news articles here if you're interested. In case you're not aware, if you're here in town, we are postponing the idea of in-person meetings until this last wave of COVID. So right now we're tentatively looking at February instead of this month. If you know anybody that's been hoping for in-person meetings, just pass the word that we are still biding our time. There is, did you guys see that Norton's antivirus is including a crypto miner, and it has ruffled the feathers of a lot of people that didn't realize that when they installed the latest version of Norton's, there was a Bitcoin mining operation that was included in it. This is all very strange for me because if you know me well, I have not been recommending third-party security. So if you're using Norton's to begin with, we probably haven't had much of a conversation. But I don't believe that Windows 10 needs antivirus. Outside of some exceptions in the corporate world, I think most home users are just fine protected with the antivirus. We had some conversation about that last week. And so I wouldn't expect anyone that's running Windows 10 to be running Norton's if they're getting advice from me. However, if you are running Norton's and you've upgraded to the latest versions, you'll find that a crypto miner has been included in the antivirus software. Intentionally, it's not a scam. It's not been put on your computer to mine crypto for Norton's, though some might say it is, because what they've done is they've tried to get involved in the crypto phenomenon and get a stake of it by making it as easy as possible for you to mine crypto. And the crypto that they're mining is Ethereum, which is what they call a proof of stake instead of a proof of work concept. And all that really matters to normal people is, no, it doesn't use all that electricity that people complain about. The Ethereum crypto coin does not burn through lots of electricity like the traditional Bitcoin does. But what this is this is your own miner, your own wallet on your own computer set up for you when you installed Norton's, and then they take a percentage of what you mine. It's not the greatest scheme in the world, but it's not a scam. They take 15%. I'm looking at the article right now. That's a really heavy fee if you think of it as service fees. And then on top of that, you need to have an exchange where that you can turn this into money. So I think this is just the beginning of an idea that they've got that may go somewhere. I think they're feeding on the idea that people want to get involved in cryptocurrency, but they don't really know how to get started. And so they're making it possible for you to get started with no knowledge. At the same time, it doesn't look like there's any way for you to actually make any money using this scheme. And in this article somewhere, I'm just scrolling through it now, somewhere in here, it talks about just barely breaking even with the amount of electricity that you would be using and Norton's 15% commission to the amount of value that you would be generating by your computer. So it's interesting. I think it makes an interesting read. We went through, this came out last week, and I think that, or almost 2 weeks ago, and there was a lot of talk of Norton sticking crypto mining on your computer. And that's not necessarily, I mean, it was kind of a clickbait headline. If you read the headlines, you might think that Norton's was doing something nefarious, and they're not doing anything more nefarious than business over good technology. And that article is in this document as well. Is anybody using a third-party antivirus right now on Windows 10? Chester, I know you used to run Norton's for a long time, but I don't think you're running it anymore, are you? No,
No, Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft. They've just done a really good job. As long as you're not traversing into questionable behaviors, I don't think you're at any real risk if you're running the vanilla Microsoft stuff. And then I've said before, there's some government and some corporate reasons that you might be running a third-party antivirus. Most of that has to do with organizing and maintaining organizational units of computers, like 100 computers as a group. And so a third-party antivirus can help you with those things.
And I have to admit, occasionally I get a message from Microsoft of an issue concerning the security, and I can't interpret what it says. I don't know what they mean. It's in English, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if you go to the security
I
center,
can't bring it up because I can't give you an example.
no, I understand. And it's not by default. Let me see if I can get my screen on your screen. Here we go. I don't know if you can tell, but down at the bottom of my screen, oh, it's just too little, isn't it? You really can't tell. But there's a security badge with a green check through it. In Windows 10, you have the system tray, it's called, and you've got stuff out all the time. That's what this bar is next to the clock. And then there's a hidden drawer of icons. And this badge, security badge, is typically hidden by default. It's up in this drawer, and you hit this kind of up caret, and it opens the drawer, and you can see the items in there. I like to pull it out. I like to click and hold on that icon or any icon that's in there, and I like to drag it out here so it's out here all the time so that I can see it. And then when it's not green, when it's yellow or red, I know that there's a problem. And whenever it's yellow or red, I double click on it and it opens up the Microsoft Security Center like it's doing now. And what Microsoft has done is it's broken the Security Center into categories. I'm sorry, it's taking a little bit for it to propagate right now. But what we'll see is we'll see rows and columns of security issues. You see security at a glance. This is kind of like your dashboard for Microsoft Security. And the one I see most frequently, Chester, is this one up here, Virus and Threat Protection. And it's in yellow. And right now it says no action needed. And when it's in yellow, what it has is a button saying perform a scan now. And that's what I see most frequently as popping up, is I see this need to run the security scan. Like for some reason, the computer just has never had a chance to run its security scan. It's scheduled to do it periodically, and you just keep getting in the way of it. And so it's reached the end of the week, and it hasn't done a good scan. And that security scan is really short, and I just hit the button and let it run. I don't close the window. It seems like if you close the window, it shuts off the scan. And then that will swap to a green check when it's done. And that's the most typical security issue that I've seen from and I would bet that's what you're seeing, Chester, is occasionally that message will pop up, and that's how you can deal with it yourself. And because it's scheduled, you don't have to deal with it. At some point, it's going to run a security scan. This is just if you're like me, a little OCD and want to get it taken care of. Other issues can be that it's out of date, or that it's gotten turned off. I like having that badge out at the bottom in the taskbar so that I can make a quick visual glance at it. Because if it's got a red check in it, something's happened. Something has defeated it. Something's broken it, maybe. And so you want to investigate why it's in red, because more than likely it's turned off for some reason. Well, we've been flagged that this meeting is going to end shortly. And so we need to be thinking about moving over to another meeting. I am going to bring that up now so we're ready. It looks like we've got 7 minutes to go until we're out of time. Has anybody else got any? I'm sorry, Chester, what was that?
I have a short subject.
Go right ahead.
Okay, it has to do with Gmail.
Okay.
I've had the same Gmail account for, I don't know, forever, since they first started. And it is chester.stone And then I've been getting a proliferation or a lot of scam emails to address to Chesterstone without the dot.
Yeah,
So
I remember
decided
you've
I would
told us
try to-
about this. Yeah.
I would decided I'd try to get rid of that. And so I did a search and found out that Google ignores any dots. You could have a dot after every letter and they'd ignore it. So the fact that I have the dot doesn't make any difference. So it looks like there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Hold on a second. Now I got to do a Google search. Is this true? Can you just put dots in your email address?
Yeah, put dots after every letter. Which is the
Dots
example
don't
they showed.
matter. Oh, this is amazing. Dots don't matter in Gmail addresses. If
Right.
someone accidentally adds dots to your address when emailing you, you should still get the email. For example, if your email is
This is my house.
johnsmith@gmail.com, your own all dotted version of your address, john.smith@gmail.com. Wow, this is right in the Google support. That's a great find, Chester. If I knew that before, I sure didn't remember it. I've never heard of this before.
Well,
And they
I'm having
go
to
ahead,
do a lot of deleting. I'm doing a lot of deleting or moving it to spam. Maybe I'll catch up someday.
Well, and if you look, they've got the examples you're talking about. You could put a dot after each letter in your email. You could be j.o.h.s.m.i.t.h @gmail.com. It's still going to go to johnsmith@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So
Scott, I got a little story goes along with this.
okay.
Yeah, at one time, we were going into different smartphones, and we were at a kiosk in the mall, and we were setting up our accounts, and he needed the young guy needed the Gmail account, our email account that was associated with this, and mine is d.bill.thompson, and this was assigned to me, I don't know how long ago, and I just never even worried about it. So it is d.bill.thompson, and I just told him that. I said, it's d.bill.thompson, or Bill, whatever. And we got home, we couldn't make the account work. We couldn't do anything with it. So we went back to the store or the kiosk, and he had spelled out the dot on each spot. So it was D, D-O-T, B-I-L-L, he spelled out the whole thing. And his supervisor was working with us the second time, and he was just shaking his head. So were we. That's my dot story.
Well, Chester, a suggestion, can't you just make up a rule on your email client that says if it comes from Chester dot, automatically stick it in your junk file or delete file and do it that way? I know Outlook can do this. I don't know what email client you're using right now, but that might just eliminate having to go through all the deletes.
I suspect, I might could do that, but I suspect that I would just eliminate all of my emails.
I don't think so, because I think it's just Google that's doing the dot and throwing it away, where the other functions don't. For instance, I do automatic routing of anything that comes from a dot XXX that I find to be, a domain name I don't want to use, and then it automatically routes any email address with that dot after that to do it. So I'm sure the dot's not being thrown out.
I'll have to look into that into my account to see if I can do that. That's interesting.
Yeah, rules come in handy for routing the emails to clean up so much junk we're getting these days.
That's interesting. Is it time to switch? What's happening?
I think we lost Scott.
Yeah, he's on hold.
He's on hold.
On mute.
Is this the new one?
Scott's on mute.
This is the old one. I'm leaving it and going to this one.
No, Chester and, Sandy are in Arizona. They're the only ones on today?
Yeah, we're switched.
Still can't hear Scott.
Is that James? Ask
Yeah.
him if Carolyn got her meeting set up.
Did Carolyn get her meeting set up, James?
Are you on mute?
Nope,
Did he hear you?
I don't know.
Oh dear. Well, I've camera turn off. I'm going to turn my camera back on again.
Now you're on.
Yeah, full size?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, same size as most of us.
Yeah. Now I'm just like a little
Oh, it's his layout.
stamp size.
You tell him.
Scott's back on.
It's my layout.
It's in your layout. If you go to the three dots at the bottom.
I'm back. Sorry about that. For some reason, I had some problem with my microphone, so I had to disconnect and reconnect. We're back, and we were talking about dots and Gmail addresses, and I agree with Dave. I think that there's some way that you could, but I think the wording, I think that language is filters. I don't know why I remember that. Filters, Gmail. Rules. Let's see what's here. Create rules to filter your emails. Open Gmail. Search box. Create rules to filter your Gmail. Enter your search criteria at the bottom. Create filter. This is where I got this. You can manage your incoming mail using Gmail filters to send email to a label or archive or delete, star, or automatically forward your email. So you basically create a filter, Chester. You would create, I am sorry, I'm not remembering which one's your legitimate one. I think it's Chester.stone is the one that you give out. So you could create an email filter that was just for Chester.stone and put it in a folder, and you could call that your legitimate email. And then everything else is not. Everything else came to some other account, came to a Chester Stone or Chester or C.Chester.stone or whatever it might be. Or you could do the opposite. You could create a filter for Chester Stone at gmail.com and put that all in delete or junk or wherever you want that to end up. and that would be a filter in your Gmail. Let me copy. I'm going to put this link in the chat. I'll also put it on today's meeting so that it's available if you want to come back. This is the Google instructions for how to do this from their support site, is creating a filter. Creating a filter, editing and deleting a filter, and then making backups of your filter. But I remember I went looking for rules, as Dave suggested, and if you're in a Microsoft world, they are called rules. But if you're in a Gmail world, they're called filters. Because Google is always different.
And unfortunately, I think what Chester needs to do is from the email client, not on the Gmail definitions.
It would depend on what he's using for a client, right?
Right.
I don't quite understand what a client is.
Like if you're using Office, Microsoft Office, and the Outlook part of that for receiving your mail, because I know you use Office, then that's the client. There's also a whole lot of other clients that can be used, many different names.
I get it both. On Google, I have my total account there that goes on for years. And then I have Outlook for current. I only keep current emails on it, or emails that I want to save.
Outlook can handle multiple input sources for emails, so you can have one email viewer coming from different email addresses, which might simplify your life also.
So you're saying it's better to do it through Outlook than to do it through Google?
I'm questioning if it's going to work in Google, because I'm thinking Google is going to be handling the period different.
Well, if you're using Outlook, then you would be using mail rules, as Dave had suggested earlier.
Yeah.
You could use a mail rule to look at the incoming email address. And if it's chesterstone@gmail, then you could forward that directly to a trash can or directly to a junk mail filter. It would not eliminate that if you were to go to gmail.com. If you went to gmail.com, that Chester Stone email, well, actually, now that I say that, if you take care of it under Outlook as an IMAPI, then it would delete it from your Gmail account. But if you're set up in Outlook as a POP email account, then what's in gmail.com would still remain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I have it in Gmail using up space.
That's right. So you'd still have to go to gmail.com and put a Gmail filter to get rid of those emails. So it would stop them from. Yeah.
I go into my Gmail account through Google, and I put it into spam there.
So if you use a filter, it will do it automatically. And so you don't have to go searching for it. Yeah, a filter would do that action for you, like its own little robot.
Yeah, I think that would be the preferred way for now.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. The whole dot thing with Google, I wasn't aware of that at all. It makes me think that there's got to be some interesting ways to take advantage of those dots. Like you could hand out email addresses with dots in them, knowing that you're going to get them, but then filter on them. So say you're signing up for a new service that you're questioning whether they're going to send you spam. You could sign up with like a c.hester.s.stone at Gmail, knowing that that's going to show up in your email because the dots don't matter, but you've created such a unique name that you can filter on it and recognize, oh, that's when I signed up for that used car lot. Now they're sending me lawn care advertisements. And not only have you been able to identify where the spam came from, but you're able to do what we're talking about and filter it right out of your email box just because you decided to use the dots in that manner.
I just hope that when I set up the filter, that I don't go ahead and filter out the good emails.
Right. Well, hopefully you haven't been receiving good emails at an email address you don't hand out. Like from our previous talks, I don't think you hand out chesterstone@gmail.com. And so, yeah, that was a very interesting discussion a few weeks back when you were talking about Microsoft sending you emails saying that passwords and things have changed, and you're receiving them at chesterstone@gmail.com when you never signed up for Microsoft services using that email address in the first place. I wonder if... I'm sorry, Chester, say again?
I finally got around to trying to fix it when I ran into this rule.
Yeah. Yeah, this is very interesting. I'm sure there is some way to take advantage of the fact that they don't care about dots at Google. Well, do we have any other topics? People are come to Pop. You got any topics on your end there? Pardon me. I'm just
not sure it's of interest for the rest of the group, but we've had a little trouble with our TV when we want to put, say, for example, Radiosity up where it's easy to access. We ran into some problems, and it got moved down into where all the other apps are. We'd like to know how to move that up, and we haven't quite figured that out. Did that question make any sense?
Yes, because I know you, and if anybody else doesn't know what he's talking about, is that he runs a Fire Stick. Many of you may have a Fire Stick in your life. I really like the Fire Stick. I think the Fire Stick 4K is great equipment. And Scott Bailey, he runs the Radiosity software off of it so that you can get like 200 channels of TV through it. And what you're describing is how to organize the applications that have been installed. And you probably want to put that up in the favorites bar on the Fire Stick. When you go to the home screen of the Fire TV, there's a bar along kind of the middle, and it says things like home, and it's got the icons for the favorite apps that you like to use. If you go all the way to the right on that bar, there are two more icons. One is a setting icon to the far right, and then to the left of that icon is the all applications. And if you click on that, you go into a list of all the applications that are installed in the Fire TV. In that all applications, let's call it a drawer for lack of other words, it's the drawer where all the applications are stored. You can traverse it with the D-pad on the remote and start up your app. If you'd like to have your app appear in the favorites, which is the top 4 icons, then they've got a bar in that all applications drawer at the top that represents that favorite location. And on the remote control, I'm sorry, I don't have a Fire Stick remote, but it's very similar to this. There is a button, and if I'm having to pull it out of my memory, but I believe it is oh, there we go. Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. There is, the button on the far right at the top next to the home is 3 bars. We can't see it now, Cheryl. There it is. Well, no, you had it perfect before. It was perfect before. I know, put it in front of your face. There you go. Yeah, now we can see it. So that button will open up a menu on your Fire TV to the right, and one of the options is move. and you select the move option, and now you can use the D-pad to move to move it up into the favorite bar. And then you hit that select button, and it will keep it there. And it'll drop whatever the last icon was in the favorites list down into the all applications drawer. Is that clear? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you, Scott. You do understand me pretty well, and it's obvious sure was very familiar with doing this, so thank you. We really stumbled around trying to figure it out, so that was very helpful.
All right.
Cheryl, do you know where my recipes are?
Yeah, right. They're on my Fire Stick.
Never mind.
The Fire Stick, every so often when the Fire Stick comes on, all that top preview screen is on. All I have is that little menu across the middle that we're talking about, where you can go over to your settings, and everything below it, where I usually have, recent used apps and all that kind of stuff, it's just gone. And I find that I have to restart, and that's in that little menu button too. I have to go over to that little menu button, especially if we've had power or internet or whatever interruptions. Because quite often when I turn the Fire Stick on, which isn't that often, it doesn't look like what it used to.
Yes, occasionally you have to restart it. You can find a restart option under My Fire Stick in the settings. If you go in there, there's a restart for your Fire Stick.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and that's really necessary. Say again, Fred?
I got one of the new Fire Sticks, and I brought it down here with me. And initially, I could get Netflix and Prime, and now I can't get either one. So I stuck my old Fire Stick in there, and I can get both. So I don't know if it's related to the new Fire Stick or what.
Well, the Amazon Prime, I went to go and watch something the other day, and I selected what I wanted to watch, and it told me that it wasn't available in this area. So I don't know what's going on with that. But again, restarted it, and it seemed to think it was fine. But also my Netflix account, like we have the VPN running on the Fire Stick, and the Netflix account, it would say that I could watch something, but it would just sit there and, it would never load. So I ended up going over to Stremio and watching everything for about a week. But yeah, there's things with the Fire Stick, and it seems like it has to be shut down and turned off again or restored or something.
Well, I was going to say what you're describing sounds more like VPN issues, where it's not feeding the right information to the application to think that it's usable. I'd be looking at if there's been an update to your VPN software, or make sure the VPN is running. And some of the quickest ways to do that is just restart it. What was that, Pop? Oh, I think you froze up. Oh, there you are.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of the reasons that we ended up having those, like Radiosity, back down with the other apps, is we weren't able to do anything with
no, you're breaking up there.
To dig in, we found it was. Are you there?
You're just breaking up a bit there. What was it you found?
Oh, okay. We found that it was set up for somebody else's Prime account, and of course it was closed. The card had expired, and we couldn't figure out why we couldn't do Prime, and we had to go in there and reset it. Well, then when we did, then it threw everything off with our header there, or whatever you call.
Oh, okay.
So it took us a while to figure it out, but
Well, that's interesting. Now, was that a stick that Scott had set up for you, and he had just inadvertently left somebody else's account in it?
I'm sure that's it because, you know, it was the one we were using when we were there with you, and he took it and made some changes and brought it back.
Okay. But now it's squared away.
And he kept saying, don't lose time, and he rolled with it. But that, we must still be breaking up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pop. We seem to be having issues.
Back to the VPN issues, don't forget that IP addresses are issued for a 24-hour period, and then they have to be reconnected. So with a VPN, this becomes more relevant than a standard connection. And so I highly recommend that you automate rebooting your router if it's on the router or whatever it is, and restarting your VPN at least every day. However, Scott, I also had a question for you. I remember seeing a link on proper recommendations for setting up a Fire Stick, and I can't seem to find that link. Could you post it or send it to me somehow?
For setting up a Fire Stick. I'm not remembering it.
Yeah, the recommendations of what's best.
Yeah, could you post that, Scott?
Oh, I'd be happy to, but I don't know what we're talking about. I'll post anything I've got, and if I've posted it before, it's definitely on the website. Everything that we talk about that results in a link or started out as a link, I try and stick on the website so that it's available, but I'm not remembering what we're talking about. There was a recommendation for Fire Stick for in what context?
Oh, just in creating and setting it up for the first time.
I don't think that we've actually had some sort of guide for that I'm aware of.
October 21st of 2020, I printed off these 2 sheets to bring with me to Mexico, because it's all about before installing Play Store on your Fire TV stick, steps to install Google Play, and it's how to install, step-by-step install guide that Scott gave us during the October 21st, 2020 meeting. I'm not sure if you can find that, Scott, but you did give us links about setting up things on our Fire Stick.
Well, that's awesome. That means that I did not fall down on any job other than my memory. I wonder if we go to the website and we look up October last year, if we'll find links to that. And what you're talking about is the ability to get other software installed in your Fire that did not come out of the Amazon App Store. The things that you would get from the Google Play Store,
Yeah.
how to get them installed. And let's just see what we've got here.
Just the 2 pages that I printed out of the thing were steps to install Google Play and the conclusion. And it looks like it was on a how to install Google Play on Fire Stick. bestdroidplayer.com.
I don't know, but I am going through. I'm going through podcast posts right now in hopes to find what the hell we're talking about. This is the reason you write it down, so you don't have to remember it.
And I can't believe I still have this thing printed. It's got coffee stains, it's got doodling. I think this is a plumbing outline. Stuff all over it.
Bill's like, it's got chilaquiles on it.
Yeah, it might have. Oh, Sandy, I found your recipes. No, sorry.
Wow, I can't believe how long we've been doing these virtual meetings. I've gone back to November 2020, October 31st. That was October 31st, 2020 was our 34th meeting, virtual meeting. What date did you say it was from?
It says October 20th, but that could have been the day I printed it. But
Okay. Well, let's see here. Nope, nothing there.
oh, October 21.
Was when you printed it? So maybe from October 17th?
I think so.
Food waste gets gobbled up on farms. How a TV interview spiraled into scandal. How to secure access to Yahoo. How to install Stremio in Fire TV. You cannot install the Google Play Store on the Amazon TV. I think this is the thing we're talking about.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
You just
Neither
said off
are
our
we.
echo.
I'm putting a link in the in-call messages right now to the meeting that I believe your instructions are from. At the very least, there's 2 articles there about the Fire TV and getting software installed in it. One is about getting Stremio installed, and the other is about getting Google Play Store apps installed when you can't install the Google Play Store. That might satisfy whatever itch you were trying to figure out with the Fire Stick. If there's Fire Stick questions, like as far as what you should buy the 4K Fire Stick. The latest version of the 4K Fire Stick. It's the most impressive hardware right now. There hasn't been any real changes in the equipment, so just about any 4K is going to be fine. But the newer ones have specialized remote buttons for things like services you use, like Hulu or Netflix. And so that remote will come with it. And it looked to me, the last time I went shopping for a Fire Stick on Amazon, you could pick and choose which version of the remote control comes with it. So if you're somebody like I am in Mexico, maybe I don't care if there's a Hulu button on it or a DirecTV button on it.
If we're done with the Fire Stick for a minute, I want to talk about shopping. Shopping for an iPad. Well, we're trying to find 2 iPads. And we're running into this supply issue, but also, like, I've been trying to make appointments at the Arizona Apple stores, and it looks like they're really shut down, that they are encouraging you to order and pick up, and they have limited in-store shopping. I guess Simpsons and Chester, have you guys been into an Apple store in Arizona?
I tried to go to the one in Chandler Mall, but the whole section where it was has been shut, like they're doing some remodeling or something. That's as far as I've gone. I haven't tried the store.
I haven't been there in years, but you might give them a call.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I'll try phoning them. It seems like that they're never open when I'm looking into this kind of thing, but I should plan my life a little better. Yeah, I will try and phone them and see what I can do. At the same time, we're going to be in Arizona for one of our meetings, but anyways, on the 31st. The 31st, the 1st, and flying out on the 2nd. And on those 2 days, the Monday and Tuesday, I would like to do some shopping for a pair of binoculars and all the things that were stolen. So I'm looking for tips and tricks of where to shop in Arizona from you people. So.
Costco, always got Costco.
Yeah.
Costco, yes. We usually go to Costco in Tucson, so we'll be trying to hit that one. But we're coming up as far as the Mesa Airport, so. And I don't know that area. I'm giggling because how many of us are out shopping these days? Almost everything's being done online because of our current pandemic situation. When I was through there in the summer, the Arizona Mills was rolling. You might go through there. That's an outlet mall that's really popular. Where's that?
that is,
It's off I-10 and 60 there.
yeah, it's right off the side of the knot of where all these highways congeal into one big mass. It's where you would turn off I-10 to go towards Mesa.
Okay.
And I was thinking along the same lines as Chester. As a matter of fact, I was just at Costco. I was feeling desperate because I hadn't been there for a while. And they do have senior hours on Tuesday and Thursday morning. So you can get in there as early as 9. In fact, I was surprised to see people bringing things out already at 9 o'clock. So they may even open up a little earlier than that.
Well, that's for the elderly. That's for the elderly like us.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a Tuesday at what time at Costco?
They normally open at 10, so they went through quite a few transitions. They used, when we first started having problems with the virus, they would do Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 10, and they were really strict. Well, you had to show your age and everything on your driver's license or whatever. I'm not finding that true here so much. But then they switched it to every morning for a while, except the weekends. I think you could go in at 9 as an older person. So it's just recent now they switched back to Tuesday and Thursday. And anyway, that's pretty nice. I was just amazed going around. I was on my club road here. It's just a couple blocks from our house, and it just felt like there was hardly even anybody in. Worry so much about close to people and so forth.
Okay, so the Costco that's close to you, is that in Chandler or Mesa? Where?
Mesa. Yeah.
There's one in Mesa.
And Southern.
There's one in Mesa.
But there's lots here.
There's one in Chandler, also one in Mesa, so you won't have any problem.
Okay.
The wealthier parts of Phoenix also have interesting things in the Goodwill stores because there's so many retired people, unfortunately, tend to pass away. The kids let the stuff go at dirt cheap prices. My granddaughter buys lots of very elegant clothes at next to nothing in these areas, as well as even some of the components like electronics and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the savers on the Monday, which everything's 50% off for us savers, and on Tuesday it's 30% off for seniors. So we've got the Savers stores, and I think I have a card for the Arizona Goodwills as well. So yeah, we'll try and get binoculars there and some things, but yeah.
There's a thrift store in Green Valley, and you go through that coming up to Tucson, and it's called White Elephant. And Green Valley, you have to be 55 years or older to be a resident there. So there's a lot of high-end stuff in that store.
White Elephant?
And White Elephant.
Okay.
And what you're going to find is when you pull up to that store, number one, there won't be a parking space. Number two, if you're there before they open, which if I remember right is at 9 o'clock, there'll be a line halfway down the street to get into the store. But there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of good quality stuff there.
Okay, well, at the same time, I'm hoping to get a booster shot of my Pfizer, so I won't be going into big lineups and crowded stores. I like the Costco one where it was not too busy. I think that's more what I'm looking for.
Can anybody go in there, or do you have to be a white elephant?
Prior to the standard.
Sorry, Dave, what was that?
All Costco's open about 15 minutes prior to their published hours.
Oh.
I'm always surprised with Sam's Club here in Mexico. It's open at around 7:15. What was that, Pop?
Oh, he just answered my question because I was surprised to see people already having loads of stuff coming out at 9 o'clock. I didn't realize they opened earlier than that.
So my question was, can anybody shop at that thrift store, or do you have to be a white elephant to shop there?
Well, anybody can shop there, and what you're going to find is a lot of people come up from Mexico out there.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. You know, I never even consider. I've been down here for 25 years. I never even considered going into places like Scottsdale looking for a thrift store. What an ingenious way to go thrift shopping. Look at those oranges.
You gotta look.
You're making everybody jealous.
So we have oranges. We have oranges in our backyard too, and they're only good for marmalade because they are just full of seeds and they're so bitter. So Scott, if you want some from closer, you're welcome to them.
I was hoping you might have a recipe. Because I lost mine. I'll find them again.
Hey, we're oh, go ahead, Mom.
Oh, I was just gonna, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, I'll share what she was gonna say. She's had a lot of great luck shopping at a store called Sunshine Acres.
Oh, right.
Which is actually an orphanage, and they do all of this stuff with used goods to finance their orphanage. It's a big operation. It's out on Higley and 202, and she just had, well, let you say it.
Well, no, I've been able to pick up furniture, but they have really, really good quality clothes. I think the people contributing to that orphanage must have higher taste than most of us, because you can get some really nice stuff for hardly any money. There's another one, a branch of theirs, if you're in Apache Junction, there's one there as well. They're both good.
And they're both called Sunshine Acres?
Yes.
Okie dokie. I guess I better plan my shopping.
That's very cool.
We're coming up on the Sunday and staying overnight in Nogales because at 8 o'clock in the morning, we've got a COVID test booked in Nogales. And so that's Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and we need the results by an 11 o'clock flight on Wednesday. And I hear sometimes it's taking 2 days to get your results, and it has to be within 3 days of leaving and all this kind of stuff, so.
Where are you having it done?
It's at the Embry Health facility. Well, it's at the Nogales Chamber of Commerce is where they've set up this place to do the COVID test. And then I'm looking for a Pfizer booster place, but it looks like I have to come as far as Green Valley to do that.
Yeah, we haven't had any of our shots down here, so we don't know about that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Well, you got a lot to do in 2 days.
Usually, that's how it works out, you know.
Hey, why don't we wind our way out of this with some recommendations if anybody's got it? Far be it for me to make the assumption that maybe somebody was watching a TV show or reading a book or a movie, but if you have, it would be interesting and nice to share with the rest of us. We're all interested. What you got, Cheryl?
Two. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have a real hard time remembering. Sandra Bullock gets out of jail. I think it's called The Unforgivable.
Oh, yeah.
Sandy's nodding at me. Good. So it's The Unforgivable. And it's a distressing story, but it's very well done. And Sandra Bullock, it plays a a tough kind of character, and it's kind of out of her usual performances, and I really enjoyed it. So The Unforgivable.
We thought it was great, and one of the better movies we've seen lately.
Yeah. And then last night I binged watched series 3 of Afterlife. Afterlife is one we watched the first 2 seasons of a while ago. I can't remember the comedian's name, but he plays a man who's lost his wife, and he can't let go of her. And it's called Afterlife, and it was quite. It's got some really rough humor, sexual stuff in it, but it's quite good.
Because it's Ricky.
Where'd you see that?
Oh, it's Ricky Gervais.
Gervais.
Yeah.
That's him. Yeah, Gervais. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because we haven't watched it, and I tell you, I look at Twitter, and it's like every other message is about Afterlife.
Yeah.
So we've been very curious about it, but if you're recommending it, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons last year, and this one just came out, the 3rd season.
Oh.
And it's pretty short season. I think it must have only been about 6 half-hour shows or something, because I got it all done last night before 11.
Carol
Your
and I watched a movie, Tender Bar.
Oh, yeah.
Tender Bar.
Tender Bar.
That's a movie.
There was another one a series Enola. So it's,
Enola?
It's Enola. And The Courier is a movie. Courier.
And someone told me about Killing Eve. I think it was.
Oh yeah, that's a
Killing
good
Eve.
one. I've always enjoyed that one.
I can't find it. I can't find it on Stremio or.
Killing Eve?
I think it's Hulu.
But I've watched it on Stremio. No, I've watched it on Kodi, I guess. But look on Stremio. And what was the movie? The Carrier? I think we watched.
Yeah, a Courier.
Courier.
There's been several versions of it, and which one did you see?
I think it was Cumberbatch. Wasn't he in it?
Okay, so that's the most current.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we did watch that. That was good.
Someone here mentioned Yellow Jacket, so we have been watching that, and I don't care for a 4, but that says it doesn't say it's 4, but it's pretty darn close. Anyway, it's very good. Kind of captured us, so we've been really interested in that one.
I know nothing about that. Isn't that like a group of young people?
Yes, they're soccer players. They're on their way to some competition, and their plane crashes. And they're in Canada, and they are really so lost they can't be found.
I think they're in the Ottawa Forest or something like that. Is there a forest called Ottawa Forest?
We call it the Parliament Hill.
Yeah.
It would be like the White House forest, you know.
Well, I come bearing 2 recommendations. One is a show that's from Korea called The Silent Sea. Wow, what's going on over there? The Silent Sea. I don't know if you've seen this in your Netflix yet or not, but this is it's a sci-fi, like an alternate history or 5 minutes in the future history of a moon mission, and it's got a strange mystery that's wrapped into it. And I thought the title was strange until you start getting into what they're doing and the technology they're working with is all revolves around water on the moon. And it's a very good story, surprising. Each episode has kind of a surprise ending to it. And it leaves you kind of on a cliffhanger, so you feel obligated to watch the next one. It's called The Silent Sea. Sea is an ocean. A good sci-fi.
Is it on Prime or?
It's on Netflix, I believe. And we watched it dubbed. So we watched it with an English dub. They did a really good version of an English dub. In fact, let's see, the write-up here is, during a perilous 24-hour mission on the moon, space explorers try to retrieve samples from an abandoned research facility steeped in classified secrets. And then the other recommendation I come with, Emily wants to make, though she's not here with me. She and her mom just finished watching the musical Chicago. And if you didn't listen to the intro to the last podcast that I posted, she said specifically in the intro, I recommend Chicago. If you're looking for a good musical, it's a great movie.
The old original?
Well, I think the one they watched was a remake. I felt like it was a recent movie that they were watching. But now that I say that, I don't know. Is there more than one Chicago movie?
Not that I know.
Well, it
seems to me like there is a new one.
Is it the musical you're talking about, they watched?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the musical. I suspect it's this one that's from 2002.
Oh, okay.
It's the old one.
Rob Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything about a new one. Yeah, Pop.
No.
Just before we close out, we need to have a brief chat with you, either after we're done here or if you'd give us a call.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk after we're done here. Is there any other recommendations to bring to the table before we call it quits? The silence is deafening.
Yeah. Carolyn says to Cheryl that she's got that organized with her meeting tonight.
Good.
Oh, good.
I was doing some consulting, Scott. I was helping Carol and James' wife to set up her Tequila board meeting on Google Meet. So
great.
It's a committee meeting, actually. But.
Committee meeting, yeah. We have our book club on Google Meet. We had it yesterday, so.
Well, and you know from experience that it's good for an hour. And then you have to switch meets.
Okay, everybody.
All right.
Take care.
All right, guys. You have a good week. Until next Tuesday, everybody tech on. We'll talk again then. See you, Fred. See you next week. I'm going to shut this down. Pop, you can stick around. I'm just going to say this is Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions and the San Carlos Computer Club. We meet every Tuesday at 10 in the morning and discuss tech topics as we see fit. Everybody is welcome to join us, and if you enjoy what we do, visit the website at scclub.org for more information. Again, I am Scott. If you're looking for computer help anywhere out there on the internet, I'd appreciate it if you get a hold of me. I've got solutions for you. You can reach me, Scott, at internationalcs.net. Like I said earlier, until next Tuesday, everyone, have a great week and tech on. We're going to shut this down.